The Denver Broncos were the talk of the NFL last offseason with their acquisition of Peyton Manning. Turns out that was a good idea. Manning had one of the finest seasons of his Hall of Fame career in 2012. Passed for nearly 4,700 yards, 68% completion percentage, 37 touchdowns, only 11 interceptions. He led the Broncos to a 13-3 record. They won their final 11 games in the regular season, all 11 of those wins coming by 7 points or more. This was a dominant team, the best team in the NFL really throughout the regular season. They had the number one seed in the AFC in the playoffs, home field advantage throughout, but they lost their first playoff game, the divisional round game, to the Baltimore Ravens, 38-35 in overtime. It was a stunner at the time. I mean, I guess since the Ravens went on to win the Super Bowl, in hindsight, the loss doesn't look so bad, but Denver was a near double-digit favorite in that game. Their defense melted down, allowing 38 points after being so good throughout the regular season. That dropped Peyton Manning's career playoff record to 9-11. He is now 0-4 in his career in playoff games outdoors in which the temperature is below 40 degrees. And remember, he's playing in Denver now. Denver plays outdoors, and in January it's pretty cold in Denver. So that's a concern for the Broncos, I'm sure. But really, aside from Manning's mediocre playoff history and his age, he's going to be 37 when the season rolls around next year. There really aren't many concerns in Denver. And those type of concerns, Peyton Manning's age and the fact that once he gets you to the playoffs, you know, he's around 500. He has won a Super Bowl, remember. It's not all bad in the playoffs. A lot of teams would like to have concerns like that. A lot of teams have many more pressing concerns. But the Broncos finished second in the NFL in total offense this year and total defense. They were second in points scored, fourth in points allowed. This defense has improved a whole lot in John Fox's 2 years as a head coach. This past year was Jack Del Rio's first year as defensive coordinator. Now, there are some issues I'm sure they'll address on defense, namely in the secondary. They do have some age there in the secondary. Be interesting to see whether Champ Bailey moves from cornerback to safety. To do that, they'll need to find some more cornerbacks, obviously, but Denver has the opportunity to do that. They're going to be $18 to $20 million under the salary cap. Remember, we don't know the final salary cap figure for 2013. We won't until just before the new league year begins in March. But Denver's going to have some room, $18 to $20 million. They'll also have their draft picks. Obviously, they picked 28th in the first round. So secondary is a place I look for them to address this offseason. Maybe running back also. Their running game seemed to suffer after Willis McGahee went down with a season-ending injury. I'm not sure Noshawn Marino is part of their long-term plans. Now on offense, they're going to have to replace their offensive coordinator, Mike McCoy. He went to be the head coach of the division rival San Diego Chargers, but they promoted from within Adam Gase, moving from quarterbacks coach to the offensive coordinator. I mean, let's face it, this is Manning's offense. Mike McCoy, what he was doing on offense before Manning got there with both Tim Tebow and before Tebow played with Kyle Orton, totally different from what Denver did this season. We saw Manning, just as he did throughout his career in Indianapolis, basically call the game from the line of scrimmage, audibled. I don't know the exact percentage of the plays. It seemed like every play, 60 to 80% of the plays it seemed like anyway, even though it's worth noting that the Broncos did run the ball this past season a higher percentage of the time than any other team that Manning has ever quarterbacked. So there was a commitment to the run game. We'll see if that continues with a new offensive coordinator in Adam Gase. But in the short term, I don't think the Denver Broncos have anything to worry about. This offense, as long as Peyton Manning is healthy, is going to be humming, and this defense has only gotten better the last couple of years, and with guys like Von Miller certainly on the upside. Miller's only been in the NFL a couple of years now, 18.5 sacks last year. He is one of the premier pass rushers in the league. Champ Bailey's still playing at a high level in the secondary. As I said, they might end up moving him to safety. A lot of other good players on that defense. Denver in position to get more this offseason. As we said, the coaching staff on defense is in place. So in the short term, it's all smiles for the Denver Broncos. For John Elway now, it's just a matter of putting the finishing touches on a championship contender.